to Excel Basics Plus. In this session, we're going to have a look at the top 5 count formulas. That is count, count A, COUNTIF, COUNTIFs, and COUNTBLANK. To start, we're going to go number 1. We're looking at the count function. Now, the count function counts the number of cells with numerical values. Now, it's a very, very simple formula. We're going to use our detail here of a number of people, what their gender is, what their occupation is, and we've actually got an ID number for them. Now, it's just sorted by first name A to Z, and their ID number is also just populated in that column E there. This is just a table we've created. Remember, Control T on your data can create tables. All right, so let's have a look at the count formula. Very simple. Equals count, open bracket, and we can select the entire range in that table by hovering the mouse just above the header of ID, and we see that black arrow pointing down then generates. If we click the left click, it then selects that entire row. You could also click and drag the whole way down. However, if you had hundreds of records, that would then take you quite some time. The other option you can also do is you can click in the first cell where the data is, and in this case it's E2, hold the Control and Shift key and press the down arrow. That takes you down to the last record. Now, if you do have gaps in your data, it will take you to the next gap, which means that it's not always a foolproof method. When using a table, always best if you literally just click on the cell row and the cell column, apologies, and that will actually then create it as this count table 2, that's the name of the table, and it's the ID column. We can now close that cell, that formula, press enter, and we know that there is 50 records. And the way we know there's 50 records is because we've got 50 rows of data. So that's the count formula. Little thing I'll show you right now, I'm going to take out the table ID there, table 2 and ID, and in there I'm going to look at first name. Now this is all non-numerical data. This is people's first names. I'm going to hit enter and you'll see it comes up as 0. This can only be used for numerical cells. Okay, so let's go back and let's change this back to the ID so that we've got the correct count formula. So equals count, open bracket, which cells or which range you want to count for numerical values, and it will return that value. Now, number 2, we're looking at count A. Count A will return the number of cells in the range that you select that have value, i.e. have something in them. So once again, very easy, equals count A, open bracket, and once again, we're going to select the first name range. So we're going to hover there and click and select that column of data, and you can see it's selecting table 2, first name. Close the bracket, press enter, and straight away you can see it selects, it returns the result that we have 50 people in that list. Now if we change first name to ID, it also comes up as 50, and the reason for that is there is something in that cell. So count is selecting the numerical value that is in there in the cell, and count A is just looking for numerical or alpha or both in a cell. If, for example, I delete the number 8, they both change to 49. It's looking for non-blank cells. So I'm going to put number 8 back in there so that we know that we've got the right ID number. I'm actually going to change this back from ID to first name and press enter so that we've got the right formula. Now, count if. This is where we want to say count the number of cells if a singular criteria is true. So, perfect example, let's count how many female people there are in our list. So we go equals count if, open bracket, very simple. and we highlight the the column of data, gender, and it's comma. So the first part we're saying is, hey, go look in the gender column, and then we put comma. The criteria I want you to look for is, in parentheses, female, and close the bracket. COUNTIF, the gender column, and you need to search for where the cell equals female only. How many female people are in our list? We press enter, and instantly you can see there's 29. Quick check of this just to prove that the data is true. Let's sort the table by gender, A to Z. All the female cells are up top. We come down here and we can instantly see that if we calculate that, we're down at row 30. Take off your header row, that's 29. So it is correct. So 29 females in our list. That's the COUNTIF formula. Now, number 4, the COUNTIFs. Now, we're looking at exactly the same as COUNTIF, except that we can have multiple criteria. Very simple formula again, equals COUNTIFs with an S, open bracket. Now, this is slightly different in that we choose the range of where the criteria is first, and then we tell the criteria to look for, and then we can do another range of criteria, and then the criteria to look for. So I'm going to look for male lawyers. And so the first piece we want to look at is the criteria range 1. Now the range 1 that we're looking for is the gender, because we want to look for only the results with males. So we go gender, comma, parentheses, male, because that's the search term. We're looking for males only, comma. Now we're looking for our second range of criteria, and we're looking for lawyers. So we're going to select the occupation column. Simple as that, table 2, bracket occupation, comma, and we're telling it to look for lawyer. So parentheses, L-A-W-Y-E-R, parentheses. That is all we're looking for at this point. You could continue another comma, select the next range of cells that you want to look up, and perhaps it is the last name must begin with the letter H, and that is then just another piece of criteria that you can search for. So we've chosen male and lawyer. Let's close that formula and press enter, and there's 4. Now let's check. We look for, let's filter, let's remove the female and only search for lawyer. And straight away we can see there are 4 male lawyers. So let's clear the filter. So data tab on the ribbon and hit clear under sort and filter. And we're back there. So that is number 4, COUNTIFs. COUNTIFs, open bracket, your criteria range, comma, the criteria you're looking for, comma, the second criteria range you're looking for, comma, the criteria that you need to search. And obviously you can go for third criteria, fourth criteria, and so on. Completely up to you and the data that you have. So obviously the data must contain the criteria that you're looking for. Now, count blank will actually come back for us with the data that we've got with 0, because we have no blank cells. But let's use the ID column again. So equals count blank. Very easy formula. It's literally, we're just selecting the cells. And once again, we've just selected table 2 and the ID column, and close bracket and enter. Now, as we said, it would come back as 0. Now, if I remove that number 8 again, let's go into that cell and hit delete. Now, count obviously changed to 49 and count blank increased to 1. So, therefore, it is true that as we delete cells, our count reduces. Remember, that was counting the number of cells with numerical values in the range called ID in the table. And count blank is searching for the number of blank cells in the range called ID in our table. And you can see there's 3 blank cells and it's counted those 3 blank cells. We put the 8, 9 and 10 back in and we come back to 0, count blank, and 50 on the count, which is correct. That is the top 5 for count formulas. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video and turn on notifications so you can see when new videos drop. Above all else, keep practicing. Thanks.